Youkai Hermit deck. Alright. So I was thinking of what style I wanted to go with, what concept. Not feeling the pendulum concept, so I was trying to find out something else I could do with it. And I was like, just a basic rank 4 deck. Since they're beast warriors, I can use tanky. And since Fire Fists are beast warriors, they could take advantage of stuff like tanky. Obviously, I decided to use them because it gives you an extra ability. Bear can destroy monsters, Gorilla can destroy back row, so that's useful. And then it's the fact that I can create Cardinal by using the Fire Fist. In this deck, I can make the Fire Fist Tiger King because it just requires beast warriors, so you know it makes sense. So I decided to just put a little Fire Fist engine in there as it were. Just take advantage of some of the Fire Fist cards to support this deck to build a rank 4 deck. So now we got Kamamitachi. If this card is normal summon, you can immediately after the effect resolves, normal summon one Hermit Youkai monster from your hand, except not a copy of himself. When another Hermit Youkai monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can add one Hermit Youkai card from your deck to your hand, except a copy of himself. You can only use this effect of him once per turn. During the end phase, if this card was normal summon, this card returns to the hand. So that's interesting, right? So I summon him, I can summon another Youkai monster. Great, bang, instant rank 4 play, right? Then we got her. Then we got. Wait, why was that? Kamamitachi. This one's Kamaitachi. Kind of weird how names are almost the same. But anyway, if this card is normal summon, you can special summon one Hermit Youkai monster from your hand, except a copy of himself. If you control another Hermit monster, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. You can only use this effect once while this card is face-up in the field. Which means if I bounce it to my hand, summon it back to the field, hey, go crazy. Or I call a Haunted or Soul Charge, something like that. I can use this effect again, right? And if this card is normal summon, this turn returns to the hand. So another monster that when you summon, lets you summon another monster, right? Which is all gravy. When this card is normal summon, you can immediately after this card effect resolves, normal summon one Hermit monster from your hand, except a copy of himself. And this is Kamanati. For some weird reason, they all seem to have the same name. Anyway, this card can attack your opponent directly, but when it does, you use this effect. Any battle damage and inflicts your opponent's half. During the end phase, if this card was normal summon, return it to your hand. Alright, so this one has the ability when you normal, you get another normal summon. Then you got this one, when it normals, you get another normal summon. But when you summon this one special summons. So this one won't activate the effects of the other ones, because the other ones only apply when they're normal summon. You get their extra summoning. This is the only one that has that one exception. But either way, you could potentially summon up to 3 monsters in a single turn, which can let you go into some rank 4 base that requires 3 level 4s, like Valon de Sigma, Stellar Knight, Delta Theros. You know, as options, you can put other ones. Spark Dragon's a good one, but I don't want to use it since I already have Exciton. Then of course we have Fire Formation Tenki, which can let you add any of these, you know, Youkai monsters or Fire Fist monsters to your hand and use it as you wish. So it's a good way of making the hand consistent, so you can summon multiple copies of monsters. Because remember, you can't summon the same copy of the same monster. By that monster's effect, you can only summon other monsters. So you gotta You need one of each so you can get their full effect off, right? And then I got bait. I got no momentum extermination. Great for getting rid of back row. Bait doll, same thing. Get rid of back row. Get rid of your opponent's traps. MST, good in general against anything you need to get rid of, like Manny's emptiness and whatnot. So that way they can't stop you with your exceed plays. Red screen, defense, especially if you're just using the Youkai's effects of summon, activate their effects, and then during your end phase, add them all back to your hand, and then that way you could just recycle them and just keep using them over again. You gotta have some type of way of defending yourself so you're not vulnerable to direct attacks, obviously. And of course, the tankies will give them extra power boost, so that's extra battle, extra damage you can deal. You could of course exceed it with them and turn them into a Tiger King, for example, and then get Tiger King's effect to add to your side of the field. Another tanky or just another card like Firefish Formation Tenson, which can give an added 300 attack to all your Beast Warrior type monsters. That's right there will be about 400 points of 400 extra attack to all your monsters, which is always good. Since they're all the Youkais are win attributes, and some of your XYZs are win attributes, then we have Spirit Wind Art Miyabi, tribute 1/1 type monster to select one card your opponent controls. Place that card on the bottom of the deck, which is excellent. Good way of getting rid of any problematic spells, traps, or monsters by putting them straight to the bottom of your opponent's deck, as opposed to just shuffling it back into the deck, just straight to the bottom. That way you know it's going to take a long time for them to draw it. Plus, you don't want to send monsters to the grave, because most monsters get effects when they're sent to graves, like Burning Abyss, the Shadal Fusion, and so forth and so forth. So sending them, back to the bottom of where they came from, it's better than sending them to a grave. Color Haunted, obviously, so you can reuse your monsters, summon them back and forth, so that way you can exceed. We got Fire Formation Tensu, as I said, it gives you 300 boost to your Beast Warrior monsters, but also you can use it to target one Beast Warrior type monster you control. It gains 700 attack. So for that turn, that monster, I have 1,000 extra attack. So that's good, extra power boost, doesn't hurt. And then Soul Charge, just for the heck of it, in case you want to bring back some monsters at the same time, activate their effects and whatnot, or exceed into some monsters and use their effects. We got number 82 Heartland Draco. As long as you still have your tanky on the field, your opponent can't declare, can't attack this card. That's useful. Of course, once per turn, you can detach a material from this card and attack your opponent directly. And since he's a 2,000, you'll deal your opponent 2,000 points of battle damage. Flagship Corn, good against monsters that can't be destroyed by battle, like Marshmallow, Spirit Reaper, stuff like that, or or just get rid of something like number 1. Why it has material, or let's say you don't let's say you don't want to attack. Let's say your opponent has Exciton and you don't want to attack because they could use their Exciton's effect. You could use Corn, send the Exciton and grave at the 1,000 damage. So that's a way you can get rid of Exciton without having to attack. You get the idea, so on and so on. So it's a very useful card. Evil Sworn Exciton Knight helps you clear the field. If your opponent has more cards than you, change that. Simple as that, right? Skyblast Castiel, detach one material. You can target monster on the field, put it face down defense position, or detach 2 materials, target one face up card on the field, and shuffle it back into the player's deck. Good against things can't be destroyed by battle, or things you just don't want to go to graveyard, like Shadal fusions and whatnot, so they don't get their effects off, or Burning Abyss and so forth and so forth. Then we got number 101, obviously, as long as it has materials. If it would be destroyed by battle card effect, you can detach a material instead, or you can detach both materials on your turn to steal a attack position special summon monster from your opponent's side of the field and attach it as material. so it has some uses, of course, and it's 2100. You can attack in the turn, use that effect, same as Sky Blaster. You could attack in the turn, use this effect, but Corn you cannot attack in the turn, use this effect. Then we got number 80, Rhapsody and Berserk, of course, really good card to have. It's good against you know, graveyard-based decks like Skull Servant decks, Zombie decks, Dark World decks, Machina Fortress deck, Burning Abyss, Shaddolls. You can use it to banish, you know, the Shaddol Fusion spell card so they can't keep recouping it. Gem Knight deck with the Gem Knight Fusion, and the list goes on and on. It's obviously a good card. Plus, you have a lot of XYZs in this deck, so you can attach it to one of them and give that monster 1200 extra power boost, so that's always useful. And then we got Cardinal, of course. It acts like a Rhapsody and Berserk, but instead of banishing the cards from the graveyard, it will return to the deck cards of your choosing. You detach 2 materials from this card, then target 2 Fire Fist / Fire Formation cards in your graveyard, like Tenki and Tensen, for example, or even Fire Fist monsters. Put them back in the deck, right? And face cards in your graveyard and or face up on your side field, so you can even do cards on your side field, and 2 cards in your opponent's graveyard and or face up on their side of the field. So that's really powerful. It's just a lot of extra stuff beyond what Berserk can do, right? And then shuffle them back into the decks. So the 2 cards you choose on your side field or graveyard, income and or put them back in the deck. And then you could target 2 cards in your opponent's side field or graveyard and or, right? Shuffle them back into their deck, and there you go. You know what I mean? You can recycle your stuff and get rid of their stuff. Make it hard for them, you know, fill up their decks with their cards again, so that way it'd be harder for them to draw their other cards, because then they'll probably just end up drawing the same cards that you already know how to beat, or you already have defeated, or are useless. Throw more dead draws back into the decks, right? Of course, we got Stellar Knight, Delta Theros. When this card is XYZ summoned, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when you normal or special summon a monster or monsters. That includes himself, which is great. And then one turn, you can detach a material from this card to target 1 card on the field, destroy it. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Stellar Knight monster from your hand or deck. That part of the effect you won't use, but the whole, you know, obviously detach a material from this card, then target 1 card on the field, destroy it. That part you will use, and the whole him not being able to be targeted by card effects when you normal special summon a monster or monsters, very useful. So you, for example, you make him, and then the following turn, if you start doing the Youkai stuff and start summoning the Youkai, you don't have to worry about your opponent, like, you know, Bombless or Trench Ring, your Youkai monsters hitting the field, because Delta Theros will be there to protect them, right? And he's 2500 attack, 2100 defense, so he's pretty decent. And then we got Violent the Sigma. You know, once per turn, detach a material from him, steal 1 of your opponent's effect monsters, attach it as an equip card, and as long as that monster is equipped to Violent the Sigma, any monster that has the same attribute as that monster will be destroyed instantly before damage calculation. So it essentially becomes a catastor, like an ally of just a catastor, and really good. Definitely a good out to a lot of decks. If your opponent has a deck that has a lot of dark monsters, you steal 1 of his dark monsters, now you can constantly attack his dark monsters and instantly destroy them without damage calculating. So it doesn't matter how strong they are, they'll be destroyed, right? And so on and so on. If you go up against a light deck, a wind deck, a fire deck, an earth deck, it wouldn't matter. You'll steal 1 of their monsters that has the same attribute as the entire deck, and then now you have your main deck out to that deck, right? You have your solution to take down their deck, all that good stuff. Typically you'll make Lightning Chidori in this deck. A lot of wind type, a lot of wind attribute monsters in this deck, of course. And so this will be one of the main XYZs you'll create. Because when this card is XYZ summon, target 1 set card your opponent controls, return that target to the bottom of the deck. I love that, right? Then once per turn, you can detach a material and target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, return that to the top of the deck. So that right there gives you a lot of control. So there's 3 of them in the deck, so you can go crazy. And then Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King, you know, has a really good effect. One, it'll get you a spell or trap instead of free, so that way you get the pluses out of it. And then once per turn, during your turn, right, you can detach material from this card, negate the effects of all face-up effect monsters currently on the field that aren't beast war type at monsters until the end of your opponent's turn. So that's very useful, especially against monsters that can't be destroyed by battle card effects or something like that. You can take away that effect against like Utopia. You can take away Utopia's effect to protect itself. Zenmain, number 101, you know, take away their effects, or anything that has an effect that could be problematic. Even monsters that get strong because of their effect, you could take away their effect and make them weaken, and you know, should be easier to run them over if you do. And that's the end of the deck profile.